What is up? What's going on, everybody? Starting a little later this evening, but shout out to everybody tuned in. Tonight I'm gonna be doing a little update. I'll get on my little lead attorney tonight, but I'm gonna be giving commentary on this whole Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, versus the state of California. And obviously, for those of you who don't know, this is in reference to the Megan Thee Stallion case, the pew pew incident. Because we're still early on in the video. We only 1 minute in, so I'm not gonna use certain terms. This is definitely like a soap opera, an exciting case. If you guys haven't heard about it, I'm gonna bring you up to speed on it, as well as play some clips and reference, because there was no news, no cameras allowed in there. So it's basically many things are being told secondhand from the media and things like that. So that's what I'm gonna be revealing or showing to you guys tonight, and we're gonna be discussing this. Feel free to call in and give your thoughts on it. I already have a poll running right now. Pause in the chat. So asking if you think Mr. Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, is guilty. Feel free to click on it. Also, feel free to call in with your thoughts tonight on the situation. This is one of those interesting whodunit type situations you see in games, movies, things like that. And it's like, he said, she said, and you have other parties involved. So I think that's definitely dope, man. But before we get into it, y'all know the deal, man. It's your favorite everything. Like I said, JR Wisdom. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's run it up. Also, those of you who tuned in with me tonight, make sure you guys comment name, sex, location. I like to know where everybody's checking in from. I see we got a few. I'm gonna give a few shout outs real quick. Kyra Netta at the Tattoo Trucker, Enos as usual, always supporting. I appreciate you guys in advance. Listen, man, this situation happened over 2 years ago, and we're just now starting the trial. There's been a lot of delays and things like that, and issues with the jury. Now the jury was selected, I believe, was it last weekend, last Friday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And the trial just began yesterday. Today is actually the second day of the trial, and there's been a lot of bombshells being dropped in reference to this. Just a quick synopsis, if that's the proper term, for what occurred. For those of you who know, y'all know about the whole situation about, because Megan's been all over the media talking about it. Tory hasn't been able to say anything about it, and he shouldn't say anything about it, been in an open criminal case. But they attended a party one night, Kylie Jenner's party, pool party. And after the party, when I say they, it was Megan Thee Stallion, Daystar Peterson, aka Tory Lanez, and Megan Thee Stallion's friend Kelsey, who y'all know has been a controversial figure in this whole thing. So all of them, along with Tory's driver / bodyguard, were in the vehicle the night of the incident happening. So that night, basically, Megan claims they got into an argument in the vehicle. She got out the vehicle. From behind, Tory squeezed off. Fired approximately 5 shots, and the shrapnel. She's saying she got shot. She got shot in the foot. Some people saying it's shrapnel or debris going in her foot. There's saying there was fragments pulled from the foot. Then there's a doctor saying fragments weren't pulled from the foot. So you have all these different things. Tory saying he didn't do it. She's saying that he did. Kelsey is kind of like, you know what I mean? And the bodyguard, for some reason, we don't hear anything. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna get into it. There's this attorney called Mo Gangot, I believe that's his name. He does a lot of hip hop oriented legal coverage and gives his 2 cents on it. He's been on Vlad, and he's been on No Jumper with Adam 22, and he covers these things. So we're gonna get into some of these videos where he was actually in there as a attorney slash media personality, and he was allowed in there. So, yo, we're gonna jump right into it. I see we got New Jersey. All we got is New Jersey, Vegas, and Camp Lejeune in here. That's it. New Jersey, Vegas, and Camp Lejeune. Man, it's 30 something people in here. Anyway, let's rock. Let's rock it. Let's rock with it, guys. We're gonna go ahead and jump right into this first clip here. Let's go. Y'all know Buddy right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute this mic and start off on the first one here with Buddy. So let's get into it.
Had opening statements. Opening statements are still actually going. We have to pause midway through for lunch. Better than TV. If you watch the prosecution's opening statement, you would say guilty. If you then watch the defense's opening statement, you would say, what the hell is the prosecution thinking, charging him? Basically, the prosecution started with this story. They said that, hey, they're all at the party, and Tory is leaving the party with Meg. They're in the car. An argument breaks out, during which Meg says and insults his skills as a rap artist. This leads to a situation where she gets out of the car and he shoots at her feet and yells, "Dance, bitch." And then she ends up at a hospital, and a doctor takes out 3 fragments of bullet wounds from her foot. Now, if you just hear, and the prosecution says that Kelsey, the other woman in the car, is going to testify that Tory shot Meg. And Kelsey has a text message where she texts somebody that, hey, Tory shot Meg. And then the rest of the prosecution's case is based on all these calls and texts where Tory's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so drunk. He never says that I shot him. He's like, oh, I'm just so sorry. I'm so drunk. So question what he's apologizing for. So that's the prosecution's case. Seems pretty easy. Then the defense comes up, and man, it gets spicy. First, the defense goes, they're not telling you about half of what's going on. The most important thing they're not telling you about an eyewitness who saw 2 women fighting, Kelsey and Meg. And so let's talk about why them 2 are fighting. Let's talk about how she was in the front seat. The gun was caught in the front seat. Let's talk about how she might have gunpowder. She does have gunpowder. Let's talk about how this has nothing to do with the fight between Tory and Meg and everything to do with the fight between Meg and Kelsey. And then the defense starts dropping the bombs. He basically says this, that they're in the car. Yeah, they left. But do you know why they left? They left because Kylie and Tory were in the pool together. And Kelsey and Meg both felt some type of way about that, to the point that Meg felt really some type of way about that. And she was really trying to go, to the point that eventually, because of how Meg is acting, this is according to the defense, Kylie Jenner goes to Megan Thee Stallion and says, it's time for you to leave. They all leave. The defense's point is what happens in the car is this. Tory questions Kelsey, hey, Kelsey, why are you backing up Meg for me trying to, get it on with Kylie Jenner? Meg has been snaking men from you your whole life. I hooked up with you, Kelsey, and then Meg went behind your back and hooked up with me. And Kelsey, this is not the first time. You had been hooking up with Ben Simmons. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with Ben Simmons. You have been hooking up with the baby. Meg went behind your back and hooked up with the baby. And so the defense starts dropping all these grenades. The crowd is captivated. The jury is like, oh, what's going on? And there's every reason to believe that there could have been a fight here, not between Tory and Meg, but between Meg and Kelsey. And the shooting could have not been Tory. It could have been done by any one of the other people in that car. What does all of this mean? Well, I'll tell you a couple things. First, Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's husband, is going to testify, so this will continue to be must-see TV. 2, the judge is terrific. I expect a very fair trial. The lawyers on the defense side are terrific. I don't know what the government lawyer was doing, giving an opening presentation that made it seem like the most open and shut case ever, when in fact there are huge questions, including an eyewitness who saw 2 women fighting, suggesting that you have to explain that theory to the jury, and you didn't. So I don't love the prosecution's opening in that regard. Stay tuned. We'll have the full coverage here. It's up and it's stuck in the Tory Lanez trial. Breaking the Tory Lanez trial, we had opening statements. Opening statements are still actually going. We have to pause midway through for lunch. Opening statement, you would say guilty. If you then watch the defense's opening statement, you would say, what the hell is the prosecution thinking, charging him? Okay. Basically, the prosecution started with this story. They said that, hey.
So I don't know if there was an echo just now, but just wanted to, that's the first one. That's actually from yesterday. Interesting thing, like you said, they thought it was a slam dunk. And I'm still waiting to hear about the bodyguard, right? So basically, this girl, Kelsey, who happens to be Megan's BFF, or was Megan's BFF, she was getting all the guys, and she doesn't seem to be a celebrity in my opinion. Megan, I guess, knew her from college. They've been friends ever since college, which I guess wasn't too long ago. But Kelsey, I guess, was the girl. Meanwhile, Megan was the rapper and all this stuff like that. But she was getting all these guys. Like she was with the baby first. She was with Ben Simmons first. She was with Tory first. And I guess you know how you have a friend and you get cool with other people through association. So based off of this whole thing, Megan basically was, going behind her or snaking, as I guess that's the term, snaking and sleeping with the same dude that her friend Kelsey was with. You know what I'm saying? So Tori pulls up to this party that he was invited to by Megan. That was Kylie Jenner's party, which is going to be interesting. They said something about Kylie actually might be testifying, but you heard him say that Kylie's stepfather, if that's the proper term, her mother's husband, is going to be Chris Gamble is going to be testifying, I guess, because he was there at the party and he had eyes on to see what actually happened. And you know, word has it Meg likes to get wasted. She likes to get drunk, and she got belligerent and things like that. And I guess it got to the point where you know she was asked to leave by Kylie. So they in the car and they're riding back, and then obviously how conversations start. You know, they going back and forth, and she's backing up Megan for Megan having an attitude and wanting to go. And everybody's drinking and all this stuff like that. And then you basically saying, "Yo, I'm getting some from you right now." And this girl, you done told me all the stuff she's doing. Why are you backing her up? And all this comes out. Obviously, that he's smashing both. And then this is where this whole mystery thing comes in, man. But this is too hot for TV, man. But I'm not gonna hold y'all. We're gonna move on to this next clip here, and let's go ahead and get it going.
And Tory Lanez. So we are taking our afternoon break. There's going to be more testimony. That their theory of the case is going to be that Kelsey was the shooter. Tory was just trying to break up the fight. Then the prosecution went up. They put on a police officer as their first witness. This is the police officer who arrived at the scene of the shooting. He testified about how he saw gun casings, blood spatter. This was a big mistake, in my opinion, because the defense attorney ended up tearing this police officer's testimony to shreds. He basically got the officer to admit that they did not use the proper evidence markers to mark and identify the location of every piece of evidence. So the police cannot tell you where blood was found exactly in relation to the gun casings, where, based on the trail of blood, the victim would have walked around. They can't tell and paint the whole story of what happened when the person got out of the car. Why, if you can't paint that story, why, if you didn't use the evidence markers, why, if you purportedly have a very simple case, did you waste your time making your first witness a police officer whose testimony is going to get torn to shreds by the defense attorney? Big mistake, in my opinion, if you ask me. From here going forward, the defense will always be able to point out that the government's investigation is completely incapable of telling the jury about the movement of the victim outside of the car. So if you're trying to inject reasonable doubt, alternative theories, you've now done a great job setting it up that the government's story has holes in it. All right, we're back with the rest of the update in Tory Lanez. So we are taking our afternoon break. There's going to be more testimony at the end of the day. But right now, let me catch you up on what's happened since lunch. The defense continued and concluded their opening statement. They confirmed that their theory of the case is going to be that Kelsey was the shooter. Tory was just trying to break up the fight. Then the prosecution went up. They put on a police officer as their first witness. This is the police officer about how he saw gun casings, blood spatter.
So I just wanted to run that because I started that last clip late. But all things, and I guess the defense is trying to steer everything towards Kelsey potentially being the shooter, being that Megan had her back turned and basically didn't see Kelsey anywhere. But you can say that you could positively know that it was Mr. Peterson or Tory shooting at you. You know what I'm saying? And you guys just got into a fight, and I think Kelsey, something along the lines of you saying that Kelsey came out there to console you when you got out of the vehicle and all this crazy stuff like that. And you guys were fighting, and there's eyewitnesses that two women were fighting, right? And how a gun got, injected into this whole thing is just, but I'm interested to see how this turns out, how long this trial is going to be. I think is yet to be seen, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. But it seems like they got her on the stand already, man. But let's get back to it, man.
This Meg Tory trial, trust there is a whole team of legals and legal support staff in New York who want to talk to you if you've been working, doing manual labor, getting paid every 2 weeks instead of every week in New York. You do physical work. All right, we wrapped up the first day of Tory Lanez trial testimony. Let me tell you what happened. At the end of the day, this will be a two-parter. On this first part, let's cover what prosecutors believe is their key piece of evidence after the testimony they expect to get from Meg and the other woman who's in the car. So here's the prosecutor's point, that there's a jailhouse phone call reminder to everyone: when you get arrested and you're sitting in jail, they are listening, they are recording. What you say on that phone will be used against you. According to prosecutors, Tory calls the other woman who was in the car, Kelsey, and basically admits to shooting and apologizes profusely to her. The problem with that theory, according to the defense, is that, well, he never says he shot her. He's just apologizing profusely, and he could be apologizing for a lot of things. According to the defense, the apology is for basically blowing up Kelsey's spot and revealing that he had been in a relationship with both of them. What side will the jury believe? It's way too early in the evidence. That call on its own means nothing. In fact, the evidence that was presented was through a detective. They asked that detective, hey, when did you listen to this jailhouse call? What can you tell us about it? He basically said, I heard it last week. They asked me to go retrieve it from the system. I retrieved it. I'm playing it here for y'all today. What does it mean? What does he mean? What's he talking about? I don't know that from that, so I couldn't really tell you, and he can't. And the jury is going to be looking at the rest of this evidence to really decide that, hey, man, when this guy's calling Kelsey and saying, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to, what's he talking about? All right, we wrapped up the first day of Tory Lanez trial testimony. Let me tell you what happened. At the end of the day, this will be a two-parter. On this first part, let's cover what prosecutors believe is their key piece of evidence after the testimony they expect to get from Meg and the other woman who's in the car. So here's the prosecutor's point, that there's a jailhouse phone call reminder to everyone: when you get arrested and you're sitting in jail.
Man, I thought that would have been common sense for Tory, though. Like, don't ever discuss whether you speaking in code. You're a gangster. You know how to talk in certain codes. You got people that's listening to these, deciphering, especially a high profile person like you. I don't know if they played. It didn't sound like he said they played the phone call. A guy was just testifying that he heard. A detective was testifying that he heard the call. But if they played it, and dude, if you actually shot somebody and you're on the phone, I don't think he's that dumb. And like you said, for those of you guys, don't ever, like, if you get arrested, don't talk on phones, bro. Don't talk on phones. And to come to that, especially with a shooting like with this, man, it just sounds dumb. And apologizing, as they said, I guess through innuendo, he's apologizing for shooting instead of, the defense can just come and say for the entire incident, for him sleeping with both of them, whatever. It could be a number of things he's apologizing for the way the night went. You know what I mean? So we're gonna move on to the next one, though. Let's make it.
Testimony they expect to get. So this didn't occur to me yesterday during my coverage of the Tory Lanez trial. We're getting ready to go in here to day 2. But before I go in, let me tell you this point that sort of crystallized for me when I was on the No Jumper show talking about this case last night. Here is the prosecutor's theory of the case. And remember, prosecutors are supposed to have discretion. They're out searching for the truth. Here's their theory of the case, what they intend to prove at trial. Megan Thee Stallion exits the vehicle. Tory Lanez comes out behind her, shoots 5 times while yelling, "Dance, bitch." Meg runs away from him, walks away from him, hobbles away from him. She's now 20, 30 feet away from him inside a driveway of a residential home. She's not yelling, "Help, somebody call the police," nothing like that. They don't say that, but this is their account of the story. Okay, so let's just go back to just their facts. So she's there. At the end, at the driveway, Kelsey comes out behind her. Kelsey goes to console her. What does Tory do? Now he's walking towards her and Kelsey. What does Kelsey do? She sees that, yo, this man who just shot her 5 times is coming for more. So she tries to intercept him. What does Tory do? He beats on Kelsey, physically assaults her. Kelsey has never said this truth to the police. No charges were ever pressed against Tory for Kelsey. The prosecutors are supposed to find the truth. They're supposed to use their discretion to find the truth. To me, if that's the story that they're going with, welcome to America. They're ODing on him like prosecutors do. And they're not talking about so many of the other events in this story that are critical to finding the truth. That's not. So this didn't occur to me yesterday during my coverage of the Tory Lanez trial. We're getting ready to go in here to day 2. But before I go in, let me tell you this point that sort of crystallized for me when I was on the No Jumper show talking about this case last night. Here is the prosecutor's theory of the case. And remember, prosecutors are supposed to have discretion. They're out searching for the truth. Here's their theory of the case, what they intend to prove at trial.
I mean, prosecutor just sounds like they're struggling. This girl lied on national television on an interview that she asked for, saying that she wasn't intimate with this man at all. Now the prosecutor, they got to clean it up in their opening statement that they were intimate. So you're lying. You're already showing everybody that you're a lying mother, you know. And now the prosecutor, and Kelsey hasn't, even though Kelsey is set to testify, right? For the prosecution, allegedly, from what I've heard, she's set to testify for the prosecution. They're already painting a story that, you know, which they failed to say that Megan and Kelsey got into a fight, right? But Megan says she gets out the car, probably kicks out the window, which is what some people believe, is that she probably kicked out the window in a rage, and, you know, glass came out and broke her, you know, cut her foot and all this stuff like that. So when she's walking away into someone's driveway in Hollywood Hills, I believe is where they were at, and you're not screaming for help, somebody help me, this guy shot me. There's shots going off in a residential neighborhood. Nobody comes outside. There was supposedly some witnesses, but they weren't reliable, saying that they couldn't tell who was shooting or whatever. And definitely they couldn't use them. So this woman was shot, according to her, residential neighborhood. No screams for help. You know, somebody please help me, or just screaming just from the pain of shots going off in terms of that. But not only that, your friend, before this even happens, your friend comes up behind you to console you based off of this fight. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Peterson just decides to just open fire and tell you, dance, bitch, with another chick. This is the story the prosecution is saying now. So keep this in mind for what's going to happen later on. This is what the prosecution is saying based off what he just said. She's behind Kelsey. Her friend Kelsey is behind her trying to console her. Buddy comes up, puts the beaters on Kelsey. He comes up, puts the beaters on Kelsey, you know, and then goes back and opens fire. I don't know. This is all over the place, man. It's crazy. You know, that's why it's just like, what is making sense at this point? You know what I mean? But let's move on to the next one. You guys hit that like button. Run it up, man. Let's run it up to 100. You know, I got the question. You know, answer the poll question there on if you think he's guilty or not while it's going. Feel free to call in with your comments as well. Let's go ahead and move on to the next clip. Let's go.
Shoots 5 times while he Day 2 of the Tory Lanez trial is underway. It started with Megan Thee Stallion testifying. I'm going to take you through what she testified about in the morning. We're currently on lunch break. She's going to come back and complete her testimony this afternoon. It started with questions about Tory Lanez. She testified that she knew him only for a short time leading up to this incident. They were friends. She was asked, were you intimate? She said yes. She was asked, were you exclusive? She said quite happily no. Then they asked her about her relationship with Kelsey. She said that she's known Kelsey since freshman year of college. How do you know her? How would you describe the relationship? I found her answer very interesting. She said, I quote, we did everything together. They asked her, hey, how do you feel about being here today? She was struggling through the testimony. I was a little surprised at her answer. She said, I don't feel good. I can't believe I have to come do this. Not really sounding like a victim to me. She's a strong Black woman. That's the image that the jury, I think, would have gotten of her. And I expected her to say something more like, I'm here for justice. I'm here to tell my truth. That man shot me. They asked her about when they left the party and when Tory got there. So she explained that initially she had gotten there with a larger group of people. Then later she asked Tory to come. By the time Tory got there, it was a lot fewer people. And then towards the end of the night, they asked her who was left. And she said it was basically just me, Tory, and Kelsey. And then we got in the pool. Then she said that when they were in the pool, her wig started getting loose. It was coming off. She felt uncomfortable, so she wanted to leave. She told Kelsey. Her and Kelsey went to the driver and said, hey, we want to leave. And this brings up the first point of contention where, according to Meg, the driver said, I won't leave without Tory. Now, obviously, Tory's team says Meg said she won't leave without Tory. And then the person actually the defense attorney asked, well, why didn't Tory want to leave? And everybody was waiting for the answer to that question because that's the whole Kylie Jenner angle. Unfortunately, defense objected. The judge said sustained. She didn't answer the question, why didn't Tory leave? The whole situation in the car. She testified that, hey, look, we all got in the car. I got out. An argument started to break out. Basically, Tory started the argument. I was shocked when she dropped and admitted that this argument started with Tory saying to Meg, hey, why are you snaking your friend like this? And basically revealing that he had hooked up with both of them, that they had been cheated on by him. And this sort of led into the whole big fight. At one point, she gets out of the car, but then she did get back in because they convinced her to get back in. And then we get to the shooting. And here, there was some shocking stuff. So here's some of the key stuff. One, Meg described that, hey, look, I got out of the car. I looked back over me, and then I saw Tory holding a gun, pointing it at me, and he shot me after he said, dance, bitch. But then this is the prosecution asking the questions. And even in the prosecution asking the questions, she said stuff that makes you scratch your head, which leads you to believe that what's going to happen under cross-examination. The prosecution asked her this: where was Kelsey when Tory was doing the shooting? You know what Meg said? Meg said, I didn't see Kelsey. I only saw Tory. Question: was she in your field of vision? Because she's right there. Where was she? If you can't answer that question, that doesn't seem like it adds up, especially not in a case where the theory from the other side is that there was a struggle and that Kelsey was the one who let off the gun. If the victim can't tell you where Kelsey is, that seems highly problematic to me. The other parts of the testimony that were a little bit confusing is they asked her, where was Tory? Was he standing on the car? Was he standing on the ground? And she said, well, he was shooting up over the window, but I don't know if he was standing on something. And they asked her, how tall is he? She said, I think he's like 5'3" or 5'4". He's taller than that, but that's not tall enough to shoot over the window of an Escalade while standing on the ground. And then they asked her, hey, was he on the passenger door, or was he on the front door or the back door? She said he's on the passenger side. And they were like, all right, well, was it the front door or the back door? She said, I don't. The other part of her testimony that I found a little confusing, it didn't mesh with what the prosecutor said in his opening. The prosecutor said in his opening that Kelsey went to where Meg was, and that after Kelsey went to where Meg was, after Meg had been shot, that Tory was approaching them. Meg's testimony today was different. Meg's testimony was not that she got shot, she went away, and then Kelsey went to where she was, and then Tory came at the two of them. No, Meg's testimony is she got shot, she went away, and then she saw Kelsey and Tory both coming to them. Again, does not add up. We finished with, why did you not tell the police the truth? And this was very interesting, whereas typically prosecutors are in the business of supporting police officers. Here, they elicited testimony where Meg said, look, I didn't tell the police the truth because this was around the time George Floyd had been shot, and I thought if I told them the truth, they were going to shoot Tory. I didn't feel safe with the police. And I thought this was kind of weird, but she said it. She said, I'm a member of the Black community, and in my community, we don't cooperate. What do I think? I think that the rest of the direct testimony is going to come out. It will be interesting. I think the defense attorney has a lot of room. Hey, what's up, bro? I think the defense attorney has a lot of room to poke holes in the story. And I think the rest of the witnesses are going to say things that the defense attorney is going to have to show that it doesn't all add up. That if Kelsey was right there, how is Megan Thee Stallion going and telling you that when I turned around and I saw Tory shot me, I have no idea where Kelsey was? Day 2 of the Tory Lanez trial is underway. It started with Megan Thee Stallion testifying. I'm going to take you through what she testified about in the morning. We're currently on lunch break. She's going to come.
So, guys, and I'm going to do no pun intended. She's shooting herself in the foot right now. How are you gonna go against what the prosecution is saying happened? Like, y'all not on the same sheet of music? Like, what's really happening here? If Kelsey was there and Tory just beat Kelsey's ass, and she was going to console you, he beat her ass, and now you're saying you didn't see her. All you knew was that you was walking away, dance, bitch, dance, open fire, and Kelsey was nowhere to be seen. How does the prosecution mess this up? And they probably looking at her like, and she's probably like, I don't give a fuck. And then they throwing smut on Tory's name, saying he's 5'3". Y'all heard the homie said, I'm 5'7". The homie said he's 5'7". He's not 5'3". She said 5'3", 5'4". You know what I'm saying? Reasonable doubt. Exactly. 2 words. Reasonable doubt. Like, how in the hell the star witness, which is yourself, and the prosecutor are on 2 different sheets of music, and you want to see this man in prison forever, and you figuratively shoot yourself in the foot. This is a very, very strange case. You know what I'm saying? This is a very strange case. And Megan, like, what's going on here? This guy was doing all this stuff. Man, it's Kylie Jenner. You had to straighten up your wig. How you gonna leave with this man's driver? This is this man's driver and bodyguard, and you're gonna say that we're ready to go, and then turn around. Another conflicting story is that I wasn't leaving without Tory, and the driver said he's not leaving without Tory. Then you said, all this is just this is madness. This is madness. Like, this is really crazy, man. I wish they would have. Damn. Anyway, man, let's move on to the next one, guys. Let's move on to the next one. Let's make it. Hey, hit that like button, man. Quit playing with me. We almost got 100 people in here. Hey, mods, I don't know where we at, but we run it up to 100, man. Quit playing. Let's go.
Especially not in a case where the Day 2 of the trial is in the books. Meg Thee Stallion has finished testifying. Let me catch you up on what happened in the afternoon session. It started with the prosecutor leading with this. She said, hey, Meg, I know we went a little fast this morning. I want to slow down. And Meg said, yeah, I was a little nervous. And then Meg actually said, these were her words. She said, I want to feel strong. I want to come off strong. And I didn't. And then she proceeded to testify. And she did come off a lot stronger and a lot more sure of herself in the afternoon session. There were powerful moments talking about, he shot me, talking about the pain and the trauma and the emotion this whole situation has caused her, talking about how she initially did not want to do this. She wanted to try to protect Tory. And so there were very powerful moments of the testimony. She explained that ultimately she did decide to go to the police and say that Tory was the shooter because of the false narratives that Tory had put out there. In her mind, she felt like she was a grown woman. She shouldn't have been hanging out with these people, getting involved in this mess. I'm not quite sure who these people that she was referring to when she was like, oh, I shouldn't be hanging out with them. She was hanging out with like Kylie Jenner, her assistant, Tory Lanez. So I guess she just meant Tory. I thought that statement was very indicative about how Meg feels about this whole situation, which is basically that she did nothing wrong. She had nothing to do with this mess, and she just wants to be completely removed from the whole situation. She denied that Kylie Jenner told her to leave. She denied that the security guard, and Kelsey had at one point left and then came back because she said, I want to go back to get Tory. She said that it was the security guard who wouldn't leave without Tory, and that's why she was there. But at the same time, she also admitted that she didn't want to leave without Tory. So again, there was a lot of this. She just didn't want to say anything that made her image look bad, and I don't know why. She denied that there was any sort of relationship between Kelsey and Tory, which could have led to her being accused of going behind Kelsey's back. And like in the car, she admits that in the car, Kelsey accused her of going behind her back. So I don't know how she's denying that there's no relationship between. The defense attorney asked her, hey, what did Kelsey mean when Kelsey said that this isn't the first time you've gone behind my back? And Meg said, oh, I don't know. Then we get to the shooting sequence, and I think the defense attorney did a really good job here focusing on the fact that, hey, did Meg Thee Stallion actually see who was shooting the gun? I don't think there's any doubt that 5 shots rang out. The question is, who pulled the trigger? Was somebody pointing at her, and who? The defense attorney established this, that Meg is in the front seat, front passenger, that Kelsey is directly behind Meg, and that Tory is in the rear passenger seat. He got Meg to testify this. Meg gets out of the car. She walks a couple steps to the front of the car by the absolute front. And then she goes a couple steps beyond that. All of this took a couple seconds. Within that time, apparently, Tory Lanez has made it from the rear passenger seat to now being on the passenger side. And from the passenger side, he pulls out a gun. She said he pulled a gun. From where, it's not clear, but he pulled a gun. He points it at her and shoots 5 times. Right before shooting, he yelled, "Dance, bitch," leading her to turn around and then see him with the gun. He pulls it, points, shoots, 5 shots. Where's Kelsey in all this? She has no idea. What does she then do? She then crawls away. The part that the defense attorney focused on is how, in a matter of seconds, does he get from the rear passenger to having a gun in his hand to being on the passenger side in position to shoot over the window at you, all in a matter of seconds. To me, there had to be something else that happened in that sequence of events from the time she got out of the car and the time the shots rang out. And then she completely denied that there was any sort of altercation between her and Kelsey. As to whether there was an altercation between Kelsey and Tory, and there has to be some altercation because there's a fingernail on the ground and there's jewelry on the ground. And so and Kelsey has blood on her. Kelsey has her swimsuit strap ripped off. So how did that all happen? And apparently there was a bump. She says that I saw a bump between Tory and Kelsey. And I guess the prosecutors will use that to establish why Kelsey has got her strap ripped and jewelry on the floor broken and a fingernail lying on the middle of the street. Bottom line, her testimony was strong. It was powerful. It was a victim telling you that a man shot her. All right, so from here, I think there's 2 important issues with this case. One, what are the other witnesses going to say? What's the driver going to say? What's Kelsey going to say? And what is the witness? There was a homeowner who lived there, who's in the house that is very close, very adjacent to where all of this is unfolding. He would have seen and heard a lot. He's going to testify. The other thing, the defense did a really good job of establishing that, hey, Meg's timeline here of in a few seconds, Tory gets out of the rear passenger, gets onto the passenger side of the vehicle, yells, "Dance, bitch," pulls a gun, lets out 5 shots. That there could have been a lot more that happened there in that sequence, because that's a lot of things happening in a very small amount of time. And it is not clear from Meg's testimony that a jury would go ahead and say, oh yeah, that man pulled a gun and he was shooting out. I could see the jury looking at that testimony, looking at that sequence of events, saying that doesn't add up and that means reasonable doubt, or looking at it and saying, well, okay, maybe something happened here, but did this guy intentionally pull a gun and shoot at this woman? No, maybe there was another shooter. Maybe there's another explanation of how those gunshots rang out. Day 2 of the trial is in the books. Meg Thee Stallion has finished testifying. Let me catch you up on what happened in the afternoon session. It started with the prosecutor leading with this. She said, hey, Meg, I know we went a little fast this morning. I want to slow down. And Meg said, yeah, I was.
Yeah, Buddy would definitely have to be superhuman in that case. So maybe you guys, I could have replayed it to hear it, but she said, so there was a broken fingernail and jewelry on the ground. Kelsey had blood on her and said the prosecutor was going to, did she say a bump or a bum? I couldn't hear it. Maybe if you guys can, what you guys heard in the comments in terms of that, was it did he say a bump or a bum? Her strap to her bikini or whatever, her top was ripped off, so there was no fight according to her. But witnesses are saying that they saw 2 women fighting. Tory, the defense is saying that there's women fighting. And over this argument, and it's hard to believe that a bump. So it was a bump caused all that. Okay, cool. It's hard to believe that, 2 women are in the vehicle, everybody's drinking. All this comes up in the back seat. Well, Tory and Kelsey are in the back seat. Megan is in the front seat, right? Along with the driver. And Tory is sitting directly behind her. And Kelsey is sitting on the driver's side, the rear driver's side. And y'all talking about all this in the car and nobody's going off on, it's just, I don't know. That shit sounds crazy. I think that's the last one for the day, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check here to see what we got here. Yeah, that's the last one for the day with Buddy. But there's some other interesting ones here that I'm gonna find for you guys here, because I just can't. That's gonna be the determining factor. We all know that. is Kelsey, the neighbors, and the driver / bodyguard. And if they're all having a different story, this really gonna be some shit. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to stuff like that, like you really like nobody is nobody is on the same sheet of music. Not even Meg. Like what the hell's happening? You know what I'm saying? So let me pull up this clip here, man. Yeah, let me pull up this clip here. Megan is going to testify. You mean we get to see? Well, I don't know if she's done. I think she's done testifying. Did he say that? Because I think she might be done testifying. I mean, it might come back tomorrow. I mean, they can always call her back to testify. But that was it for today as far as what he was talking about. You can see this clip, which I'm about to throw up here. Like when she first pulled up to the courthouse, everybody was outside. You know, some stuff like this, which I thought was pretty funny right here. People might not find it funny, but we'll go.
Hey, Megan, why you lying on that boy?
Is it the truth or a lie?
Hey, Megan, why you lying on that boy?
Is it the truth or a lie?
Hey.
I don't know why she lied on good buddy, man. And you know, Tory is Tory's like all smiles in this situation, right? He's like completely all smiles. He pulls up with his pops and his son, which I don't know if you guys knew that. Which I'm glad he got that support out there, and I guess that was a move by the
Chill out, everybody back up. The room, he's got the baby. Thank you so much.
Beautiful family, beautiful family.
Excuse me, guys. Excuse me.
Give him space. Give him space.
Excuse me.
Sorry, which one is the outcome, my guy?
Love. Jesus is Lord, my friend.
Your whole team came. What's up, Pop? He's got the baby with him. He's got the baby with him. Open up. Have some respect, yo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, have some respect. Have some decorum, man.
Megan is here. You nervous?
The pressure's $100 more. Yeah, you do right. Show him the truth. Chill out, everybody back up. Give him room. Give him room. He's got the baby. Thank you so much.
Beautiful family, beautiful family.
Excuse me, guys. Excuse me.
and that's his dad with that white beard. That's his pops. He got his pops there. I guess that's his dad, old lady. I'm assuming. I'm not sure with that, or maybe his sister. I don't know, but I know that's his dad with the white beard right there, and he got his son. And buddy in good spirits. You know what I'm saying? So it's I hope it turns out good for Tory, man, in this case, man, because to go through all this, you know, especially if you did it, you know what I'm saying, and you still got to go down, bro. That's not the move. Definitely not the move at all. And you got him right here with his leaving court. I guess that clip ain't but so big.
His too. There you go. This is my support system, and I'm his too. There you go.
Man, so I don't know, guys. I just wanted to show. Tomorrow. You know, we got a few more days. I'm assuming, you know, it's gonna go all the way through Friday. We're Tuesday, and it's already this deep in the game. You know what I'm saying? If everybody testifies by Friday, man, this will be a hell of a week. You know, so that's my thoughts on it. It already sounds strange, and I know Tory looking at it like you know, this. I'm going through all this, especially if I know I didn't do it. The question is, who the hell did it? Who did it, bro? Who did it? A case of who done it. There was a guy used to looking at this reporter here. I'm just gonna read these snippets here from this thing. Make sure you guys can hear me. Tory dad looked like Nene's new man. Damn, it's a cold world, huh? Argument with Tory Lanez did start about romantic situation, but escalated to an argument about their careers. That was something as well as talking about. She said that he's not that big of a deal in the industry, and supposedly that set him off or whatever. Describes Lanez as someone she used to be friends with before telling a prosecutor she didn't feel good. I can't believe I had to come up here and do this. Right? Megan Thee Stallion says the argument in the SUV started because she wanted to lead the party at Kylie Jenner's house and Lanez didn't. He had an attitude, and when they got in the car, he told Megan Thee Stallion, "You need to stop lying to your friend," referring to Kelsey Harris. Megan Thee Stallion says she wanted to get out of the car right then and there, but I'm in the peak of being famous and I'm in a thong, double cheeked up, and I look all crazy. Was obviously worried about being photographed. Megan says she wants to get out of the car right then and there, but I'm in the peak of being famous and I'm in a thong and I look all crazy. Was obviously worried about being photographed. Okay. Eventually, he let her out of the car, and Megan describes the shooting as it has been in the court in interviews before. Lanez yells, "Dance, bitch," and fires 5 times. She says, "I'm in shock. I'm scared. I hear the gun going off. I can't believe he's shooting at me." Defense attorney repeatedly argued no one else will testify. Lanez or anyone yelled the phrase, "Dance, bitch." So Meg was the only one saying that now that he said "dance, bitch." Praise of the prosecution used repeatedly, and I guess the district attorney Alexander Bott began his opening argument with. Megan says the gunfire floored everyone. Lanez looked shocked. Kelsey looked shocked. Jaquan, the driver, Lanez security, looked shocked. Meg confirms that while the argument started about their romantic situation, it quickly escalated to a fight about their careers. You know, a woman could go, she gonna hit you with a low blow, even though in all actuality, Tory is doing incredible, man. Tory is caked up. Tory's constantly putting out content. He may not be as big of a name as Megan, but you know, Tory sings, raps, writes. Tory does all this stuff. He makes incredible music, in my opinion. You know, and I may be biased, but I think Tory's he's a good artist. But you know, a woman gonna hit you with a low blow, especially when you feel like you should be further along than where you're at. You know, a lot of times, and she may have known that that's a sore spot because in a moment they might have been pillow talking, and he probably whispered in her ear. You know, because sometimes you whisper. You know, with a woman that you can trust, you start telling her how you feel about things, you know, how you feel about life. She starts telling you about how she feels about her life, and you feel like maybe I should be at this place in my career, and you may have said something about other artists, and in a moment when she mad as hell, she's gonna bring it up. And that's probably what happened, which infuriated the brother. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah. It quickly escalated to a fight about their careers. Lanez apparently told Megan she ain't shit. You gonna say I ain't shit? You gonna say my career? You gonna say I can't sing, I can't rap, I'm not as big as Drake? Bitch, you ain't shit. And Meg responded by insulting his stature in the industry. She said that really set him off. Megan also hit on a topic that's been central to the case between the Daystar record, you know, which was, if y'all don't know, they're referring to the album that Tory released right after the situation. He self-titled it Daystar, which is his first name, obviously. And on that, most of the songs are made about Megan or centered around Megan in the situation. So that's what she's referring to, that the Daystar album. And Drake, you know, he recently did a song where, you know, it was a play on words you know, about she lying about the shots, must be a stallion or something like that. You guys can comment. Y'all know it was something along those lines. She's lying about the shots. Call her stallion or something like that. Whatever. Implies she lied about the shooting. And you know, Drake's the biggest artist in the world. And he's saying this, which could be detrimental to your overall, as an artist like her, your overall brand. You know, and if Drake is saying you lying, you got to be lying. So I guess that's where she can come in with that she feared reporting Lanez could hurt her career. This whole situation in the industry is like a big boys club, like I'm telling on one of y'all friends. Now you're all about to hate me. Go ahead, baby. They asked her why she didn't report the shooting. At this time, we're at the height of police brutality. I felt if I said the man has shot me, they might shoot first and ask questions later. So I don't feel safe in the car. I don't feel safe with the police. First of all, in the black community, in my community, it's not really acceptable to be cooperating with police officers. You know, the prosecutor told her, despite, you know, prosecutors are supposed to be pro cop, pro police. But in this case, for this case in particular, they coached her obviously to say that, you know, which she said that previously, but, you know, they're going to coach her to say that in terms of, you know, fearing for your life. You know, police are killing black people. George Floyd situation just happened. You know, so that's why I said that in this case. It's not really acceptable to be cooperating with police officers. Meg also hits on a topic that's been central. Okay, we already said that. Meg says the gunfire. They keep copying. They didn't do a better job of editing this shit. So here's the thing, which I'm interested to hear about, and you guys may be as well. We try to get this a little bit centered about this $1 million issue, right? She's claiming, you know, she repeated the allegation that Lanez offered both her and Kelsey Harris $1 million. So that's $2 million for them not to talk to the police, saying he couldn't get arrested again as he was on probation. Defense argued Lanez is not on probation because he has no prior convictions. What is going on here? Not saying that and I'm not saying that Buddy could be like, yo, here's $1 million. Y'all keep quiet about this. It's gonna hurt my brand, and may have tried to, you know, gain a little bit more sympathy by saying that he was on probation. Not saying that couldn't have happened, you know, because he could have lied too. But still, $1 million each. You know what I'm saying? Not to talk, bruh. I don't know. That's a little bit too far. You know what I'm saying? Way too far in my estimation, at least. So tomorrow's gonna be exciting, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm on my lead attorney tomorrow, and I'll be on my lead attorney-ish tomorrow with a live update. tomorrow evening, you know, I'll come with a live update. So I guess if we don't have any calls, you guys, like I said, the call lines are open. Before I run my end the video ads, the call lines are open. Feel free to call in to share your thoughts on this whole situation. You know, I'm about to close it out here soon, but I'm gonna read the poll results from this video here. How was Tory on probation when he only ended up on probation for the alleged shooting? That's what she said. She said that that's what he told her. I'll give you and Kelsey $1 million because I'm on probation, you know, just to shut up. No, don't go to the police or whatever happened. You know what I mean? So that's what that is. So where we at with the results? This thing usually pops up on here. Okay. So we got 124 votes. As of right now, I asked, do you think Tory is guilty? Out of 124 votes, 15% said yes, 85% said no. So overwhelming amount of people that voted said that Tory isn't guilty. So maybe you guys can see that in the chat. I just ended the poll. So there you have it. It is, man, y'all ain't got the likes up. Damn, y'all stingy. Yo, we should have had 100. We still sitting like this, man. Anyway, it is what it is, man. Hey, check it out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. You know, like, share, comment, subscribe. You know, if you haven't, stick around for the video, for you guys watching the restream at least. Stick around for the video that's going to be popping up on the screen related to this topic. I'm going to be covering, you know, daily updates on this, obviously. And we're going to rock out from there, man. You know, if you haven't purchased all my books, merch, t-shirts, it helps us support the channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Do that like right now and quit playing with me. You got any crazy stories on dating and things like that, man, feel free to shoot them to me. Look forward to hearing those and covering those, man. And that being said, man, much blessings and abundance. Stick around, like I said, for the videos that's gonna pop up, and that's where I'm gonna see you guys at. I am out of here, man. You guys have a good night. Peace. Shout out to everybody. Once again, shout out to my mods. Appreciate everybody that gave super chat tonight. Shout out to Enos. You know, I think that is my mod. So shout out, man. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'm out.